all right. What you been doing lately? What's going on over in Flyknit world?
I'm just chilling, watching movies, and I came here to review something. Is the watch? Some
Well,
watch? A watch?
first of all, welcome to Minor League Films. I'm your host, Scott A. It's A because it's an accent mark over the Y. Say it right. And I'm with my co-host, Flyknit Johnson, who does not know we're reviewing today. It's called The Watchers.
That's it. The Watchers.
All right.
It is watching something.
Yeah, we watched something. And this is M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. Her name is Ishana Shyamalan. It's her first debut. She was director, producer, and writer for this movie. So she did her thing. This is her first time she did all three roles. I'm impressed.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't even really, when I went to see this, I thought this was M. Night. I didn't even know this was a Shyamala. All right, Shyamala.
This I Night.
Yeah, so most definitely credit to her. This is her first tour debut. Maybe I'll take it a little easy on my rating, but put a solid movie together. Looking at the trailer, I mean, I saw it in theaters. It looked all right. It looked like a little classic horror film. So obviously we'll share our thoughts. But hey man, shout out to her getting it going.
Yeah, and I'll get started my review here. I think we both pretty much had the same thoughts. We never really watched anything together, which is very strange. We don't watch anything together. But in general, for most horror movies, we'll have around the same kind of reaction to it.
Yeah.
I may just give it a little bit higher because Flyknit,
I call out bullshit.
He does a lot of calling out of stuff. And I'll let it go. You know, because we both nitpick. We got one person got nitpick. I can't do nitpicking like that.
Yeah. Well, Scotty also too. If we have a tiebreaker, I did it. I was able to see this movie with another reviewer out here in the area. 2-hour commitment, my guys. So he'll join us a little later and give his thoughts on it. So maybe that'll be a tiebreaker. We had some differences.
Okay, we'll do that. But this movie basically, so this stars Dakota Fanning as Mina, as you can see there. It stars Georgina Campbell as Sierra,
girl from Barbarian.
Yeah, from Barbarian, and she did a pretty good job in Barbarian too. And it stars Olwen Fury as Madeline. She was also in Tarot that just came out, and also stars Oliver Finnegan as Daniel. And they all did a very good job in this movie, I think. As far as the acting goes, I think they all did a stellar performance. It was pretty good. There's also a doctor in this movie, and the doctor / scientist, he didn't star, but he had quite a performance.
He had a nice little feature. He got his time, man. They couldn't shut him up.
But it starts off as Dakota Fanning's character, Mina, being stranded on a 2-lane road. And instead of her walking to the police station, because of course she's in the middle of nowhere, but instead of her walking to the police station or just walking down the road till she finds help, or just staying in her car till she finds some help, she decides to walk to the forest. And around 5 p.m., when it gets dark in the fall. And what happens in the forest in the fall? Nothing good.
Let's give her some context. This ain't just a white girl wandering in the woods. She had a job to do. She had to deliver this bird from her job.
And I was trying to spare them from the bird because that bird
he the best actor in the movie.
That bird had me mad all movie. I said they ain't get him yet.
Talking big shit. Yeah. So she has to basically, her job is like, yo, we need you to drop this bird off. This is the location. She got to drive there. And then, like you said, she ends up on some road that she shouldn't be on, to a smaller road, to no road at all. So basically, she driving in the woods. And after that, like you said, nothing good happens. If you're going to drive into the woods, what happens.
Right. And when she goes into the woods, Owen's character, Madeline, sees her and is like, get your ass in this room. And when she goes to this room, she finds the other 3 characters in a room, and it's a big mirror. And the big mirror is basically for entertainment, and then we don't know what they're entertaining, but they have to stand in front of it for a certain period of time to entertain whoever's outside of that room in the forest. And they have to abide by rules. They cannot go out of that forest after dark. Yeah. So the movie revolves around Mina, Dakota Fanning's character, trying to figure out the mystery on her own because none of the other characters give a damn about this mystery. So, and they try to kind of instill fear into the audience or instill at least some little doubt in the audience or question the audience, because they already make a statement of Georgina's husband has been taken because he went out after dark.
Well, I'll say this for this movie, I think it does a good job of the lead up. I think and shout out to Miss Shyamalan. I don't want to screw up her
Ishana.
name,
Oh, no,
but
come on, say her whole name. Ishana.
it's Shyamalan. I think she does a really good job of introducing things early in this film. Dakota Fanning, who's our main character here, even before we get to the woods, even before we do all that, we can see like she has some stuff going on in her life that it's kind of secretive. She's hiding a little bit, but you can tell she's dealing with something. She even does something early in the movie where she's just goes into character, like she wants to get away from who she is and kind of play different roles, which is a very cool setup because she's dealing with stuff mentally. She's doing this, and it gave a lot of stuff when she got into the woods, where we know how horror movies work. The woods is going to mess with you, regardless if it's a ghost, monster, or whatever. Woods are going to mess with you when you get out there. And I thought they did a good setup of when stuff starts to happen, like, oh, they're going to play into her maybe being a little bit mentally crazy. I don't know, but I thought they were going to play into that. So I think that was a really good setup before she even gets around these other characters who come with their own set of problems.
Yeah, that she did a good job of setting it up, because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't read the book prior to watching the movie. Like, I started to skim through it, but I didn't read it. And it's not that long of a book, really. But one thing I like what Ishana did is, I didn't see. I always like to read from the book to movies, films, if the director and writer actually meets with the author, because to me that always makes a better movie if you actually relate with the author and say, "Hey, I want to do this. What do you think?" Because a lot of times, like in Harry Potter, like J.K. Rowling was right there. She's like, "Oh yeah, they got this, boom, boom, boom." But I don't know if she did that or not, but she really was faithful to the majority of the book, which I liked, because as far as I'm concerned, there's two things you need in every book to movie or video game to movie. You have to have the characters have their personality from the books, the main characters.
Yeah.
So I need to know who they are. Like, I should be able to tell who they are. The plot, maybe not the whole plot from the book, because you can make something different, but the general plot, I should know, okay, cool. I read this book. I recognize what they're doing, and let's see what they do. And then you can go off and do whatever you want to do. And she did those two things to me perfectly. And then the bad parts, I saw that she tried to fix them. I'll say the bad parts, because as far as the readers go, we did all agree that there is a section of the movie that could have been taken out.
Yeah.
So I think she did a good job, even though she didn't take it out. She did a good job trying to make that part a little bit better.
Yeah. I think she had a good setup, but I'm not coming from the book side, so I've never read it. I'm just coming from a strictly I saw a movie, and this is my thoughts of it. I think a lot of this setup has a good job in this movie. Once we get out there, once we get into this isolation format, where now we're stuck with these characters, we don't really know them that well. We don't know how long they've been here. We don't know like really the rules of this place. And they kind of introduce that a little. I think they don't do a well enough job of reflecting the danger in these characters. And when I'm talking about the characters, it seems like they're very comfortable in this environment. Like it's another day. And I remember a scene where she asked the guy in this movie, she's like, "How long you been here?" He's like, "Well, maybe 5 months." I'm like,
Yeah.
like, you ever plan on getting out of here? I think that part right there could have done a little well with introducing some danger, because the color fan is really the only one of like, why are we here? Like, I'm ready to go. I'm trying to escape today. You can't leave. Why? You can't go out at night. Why? And it takes a little too long for her to feel comfortable with these answers. And it also feels, for me, it's like that wasn't good enough to kind of keep her there, without getting these answers. So that's a little part in the middle where I'm like, all right, that needs some sorting out.
I guess seeing that room in general in the middle of the forest is like, you said I shouldn't go out here. Well, why is this even here?
Yeah.
So,
who built
but
it?
she did eventually go out on her own and try to figure out the mystery and whatnot. But you're right. The people that have been there, like the girl, I think was there for like a year. The lady was been there for years, like years. And the guy had been there, I think he said like 8 months or 6 months, something like that. And they all just act like it was normal. And there's some parts in there where you can see where they're fed up with being there. But I'm like, it took this one character to show up for them to be like, okay, let's let's rebel or
let's
figure out what's going on out here. Like even the scene where you remember when she initially was trying to figure out what was going on and explore when she shouldn't have been and went to look for stuff. Even then, I didn't really feel a lot of danger. So you're right about that. I didn't think about that. I didn't feel a lot of danger in that scene either. And I thought maybe that danger would follow them or something and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It wasn't as suspenseful as I thought it would be.
Yeah, because if you're gonna establish these rules that they say, we kind of have to have a little like this is why we follow the rules. And I felt like if you put yourself in her position, it's like, yeah, there may be some danger out there, but I don't even know how long I could survive out here. We hit points in this movie where the guys like, they're out in the woods stranded, so they gotta eat something. They don't have Hello Fresh coming to deliver every week. Like they gotta do their own stuff. And they're at the point where like it's getting cold. I'm not catching anything. Like if that's the case, like you gotta kind of get out of there because there's no guarantee on survival.
And it does get a little. That got a little weird. Not weird, but that part was a little bit slow. I think they were catching rabbits at some point, maybe squirrels at some point.
Birds,
and so they give you some clues. I don't know if you called it, but when they're catching stuff, why they have to do this and whatnot. And that's what kind of clued me in as to like not what was out there, but basically that, okay, this is the type of thing that's out there, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she did a good job, at least give me a little bit, and then I had to guess the rest of the part. I love Madeline a lot. The old woman, she plays the old woman that knows everything for no reason.
Old woman that knows some shit.
She does a good job of playing the old woman that knows everything for no reason. I mean, we love those characters, right? Every movie, I love the horror movie with the old lady or old man knows everything. I think she played that role perfectly in this movie and in Tarot. And honestly, I could have used her alone. I didn't need nobody else.
My name is Madeline. You should know there are a few rules. Remember what is real and what is not. No one can survive the forest after sunset.
I felt like when we got to that point where we really know like what's going on, we understand there's some element of danger here, and we understand that like these characters aren't necessarily safe in this environment. They are, but they aren't. I felt like it was in that part of the movie, like 60% in, where the movie really starts to slow down. It really starts to kind of hit a stopping point until they make something happen to where they're like, okay, to move this forward, we gotta throw this in here, and then blam, information. And without spoiling it, that was something that I really was not a fan of, because it is one of the things where it's like, this is a huge info dump where it's like, all right, audience, sit back, relax, put your headphones in and listen to this for about 5 minutes, and now you understand everything that's going on.
Yeah, you're right. I almost wish that somehow, since the information source may not have been there, I wish that it was sprinkled throughout the movie, so it wasn't just the old. Because all they had really was old lady saying, "Nah, just don't do it. Why not? Shut your mouth. Don't do it." I wish they had that source sprinkled throughout the movie slowly, so I could be like, "Oh, cool! Like I'm figuring stuff out." But yeah, they just kind of threw it in there at once. Like, yeah, this is all you need to know. 15 minutes after that, they could have honestly ended the movie, and the same thing in the book where that same scene was happening. I was like, "Oh, this is a perfect ending." And then she was like, "No, you thought we still going?
We got more.
We got more." I said, didn't really need that, but this is the only time I think I've said this in a horror film, that we don't need this end part, because I sat there and I was watching. I said, that would have been a perfect ending. Like, more was actually less in this movie.
Yeah.
The more I watched that movie, the more I was angry, because the spoiler alert, Mina's car never got towed to where it was supposed to get towed to.
The car
ain't called nobody.
That car never came back. That car
they don't never explain how much money she got. When her mother died, she must have had millions of dollars, because that Jeep Cherokee ain't never been found.
Big spoiler alert, it was a transformer. That thing got up. He went into another movie.
He said vehicle. He said vehicle. What I need that for?
Yeah, she turned, he was gone.
I
Oh,
get another one just like that. 1% APR.
yeah, yeah. I think we're hitting on some of the same pros and cons here. I think getting into later of the film, yeah, I think it goes on a little too long. I will maybe talk about the ending a little more on the other side, but I think it goes on a little too long. I think enough stuff is not explained and then over explained, and I think it's kind of at one point gets silly, and I think characters are a little bit underused here. You talked about the older woman. I think she's used a great effect for what she does, but my girl from Barbarian, you put her on the screen. She's a great actor in Barbarian. Like I haven't seen her in much, but I have no question she's the best actor in this movie or the best actress in this movie. And
Yeah,
she's not used at all. She is not given anything. And that is one of the things I was pretty upset with.
I think all of them are great. Dakota Fanning, I haven't seen her in enough adult films yet to say much about her, but I think she can act. I mean, she's been damn near a part of Denzel's family since before they filmed together because one of her best friends, or matter of fact, I think her best friend is Denzel's daughter. I do like this movie as far as isolation. I like horror movies where you're isolated. They were isolated, like nobody could help them at all. I like that part to where they establish, hey, there's no hope for these characters. The only hope they have is each other. I like that.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of our pros and cons in this, but I got my guy Christian on the other side. He stepped in, so let's get his thoughts in here, and we'll get his rating, and then we'll come back with ours. So we'll be back in 1 minute. All right, so I got my guy Christian in here, 2-hour commitment. I was lucky enough to see the movie with him and hang out and talk about it a little bit after. I'm talking to watchers here. Just want to get your opinion, wanted to bring you in and talk about it a little bit. So M. Night Shyamalan's daughter movie. You know her name. What's her name?
Ishana
Night Shyamalan. I was probably but yeah, man. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on it and get into here. So let me know what you like about it, what you didn't like about it, and then give me a rating for you.
Yeah, so Ishana Night Shyamalan, I've been seeing a lot of people reference her as M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. Just go ahead and acknowledge her as a person is what I'm trying to say here. And the things that I did like about the movie was, first of all, the shots. I mean, her directorial debut, I think it's a good, like, visually, aesthetically pleasing movie. The sound score was actually really good. I thought it carried the story along well. But what I didn't really like was the overall pacing of the movie. It started out pretty solid, and I really enjoyed like the darkness aspect. Like people are watching you, or something is watching you. You don't know, so it leaves lots of the imagination, which I really enjoy. But or I guess the reveal of the things that are watching them, I didn't really vibe with it too much. Now, some people are like, I'm seeing that they did enjoy that, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that's different. But for the most part, for those that have seen it and those who will see it, you will realize that it's kind of spoon-fed to you in a fact where it's like, okay, I think I do get it. And I think that the movie ran a little bit long. So although that the shots are great, the music score is great, Dakota Fanning does a good job. I didn't really care too much for the other people. It was kind of like, why do I care if you live or die? I'm not saying anyone dies or anyone lives, but at the same time, I didn't really care for them the way I cared for Dakota Fanning. And I think that was kind of a missed part in this movie since it is such a limited cast. The ending, it didn't do it for me. It will do it for some people, not all, but not everyone at the same time. So with all that considered, I think it is a solid debut for Ishana Night Shyamalan. That's a mouthful to say all on its own. But I will say that I am looking forward to seeing what she does next and taking the feedback from this movie and everybody who has watched it. I think she will take it. Will she be as good as her father? I think that's kind of an irrelevant question, but at the same time, it's a question that everybody's going to have on their mind. Like, is she going to do all these twists? Is she going to produce a village type movie, or is it going to be an old, for those that have seen that movie, type movie? So I'm excited to see what she does. Am I impressed? Somewhat, but I'm impressed in the way that it was her debut. If this had been an M. Night Shyamalan movie, I would have been like, great. Another one that just didn't really hit the mark for me. And for those reasons, I'm going to give it a run-of-the-mill scoring. I'm right there almost on the minor league. However, given it is a debut, I will give a little bit of leniency because I do want to see another one. So run-of-the-mill, if I paid for this ticket, I wouldn't be disappointed. But at the same time, if I left, I wouldn't be excited about it. Run into my friends saying, you definitely need to watch this, unlike some other films this year.
Yeah, I think when we left, we both were like, yeah, you might have skipped that one, but I think you brought up some definitely good points. I thought her setup was very well. There's a lot of intrigue that we had going into, when old girl gets lost in the woods. I just think the execution of some stuff went in there, and then she falls into some tropes we talked about that I didn't really care for, as far as dialogue feeding and kind of the ending it went there. But I mean, you went with run of the mill, so I think it's a solid score given it is her debut. But yeah, man, it's good having you in here. Generally, you do reviews and a lot of stuff like that. So go ahead and let us know where we can find you in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So the main platform that I'm going to be on is on Instagram under the name 2 Hour Commitment, the number two, and not spelled out. And I was kind of a jerk, Darian. I didn't even say thank you for having me on here, and I feel kind of bad about it now in retrospect. But yeah, thank you for having me on here. This is the first time that I'm doing on this doing this on this platform. So I do appreciate you having me on here. And again, Instagram, 2 Hour Commitment. Like to keep my reviews pretty short, pretty straightforward. Watch it, skip it. I like to say that at the beginning of the review so that way you guys know, because I know you guys are busy. So we all
Yeah.
have lives.
And don't worry about it. Just next drink's on you. That's all you gotta worry about. But yeah, man, we're definitely looking forward to doing some stuff together on the other side. We're going to catch some movies because we're relatively close. So hopefully we can do some live get stuff from the theater. Get creative a little bit. But yeah, most definitely we'll have you back. We'll try to get you in here at least once a week or once every couple of weeks to talk some movies. But yeah, man, thank you for coming in. That's 2 Hour Commitment. If you don't know, go ahead and check him out, and I will catch you on the other side with Scotty. All right, and we're back. So obviously we got his rating. Scotty, I want to get 2 hours and go ahead and wrap this up. Overall, do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I will give this price of admission. I liked it just enough to where I think you should see it in theaters.
Okay.
I don't think it was bad. If you didn't read if you didn't read the book, I think you will love it. If you did read the book, I think you're at least going to like it, because if you liked it when you read the book, it stays true to it. So if you really like the book, then you'll love the movie. You'll absolutely love the movie. How about you?
So
Here it goes. Here goes the bullshit.
Miss Shyamalan. It's her dictatorial debut. It's her first time in here.
Why he always say dictatorial debut?
Dictatorial.
He says dictatorial every day. He got it on his mind.
Directorial debut. I want to say I think she does a solid job. I don't know how much the studio had an influence in here, and I'm sure they did with certain things, because you're doing your first time, you only get so much control. I think there's a lot of good setup in here. I think when we get out to these characters, like getting out there and even dealing with the bird, they're trying not to die. I think it's pretty funny, and a lot of stuff comes good. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Like I said, I think a couple of the characters are underutilized, especially my girl from Barbarian, and I think this movie has a lot of silliness, especially once we get later in the film. There's a lot of silly moments. Overall, I'm going to give it a high minor league. I think it's a little, I would say, run of the mill if that ending wasn't so silly. I'm not going to spoil it, but I think it's very silly. And I think that bumps it a little down. So I'd say a high minor league for me. I think if you've seen it at home, more in a rental, more on your TV aspect, you won't mind it as much as paying theater prices for it and having to get popcorn and all that.
Well, that's all for our reviews. Flyknit. If they want to find you, where can they find you?
Well, even before they find me, shout out to my guy Christian, 2 Hour Commitment, for stepping in here. We're gonna have him definitely show up there a couple times in the next couple weeks. So definitely enjoy having him in here, and we'll check him out soon. Most definitely, if you want to find me, you can come over here to Flyknit Johnson social banners. There we go. I'm on TikTok and IG at Flyknit Johnson. I'm not hard to find over there. I am also on Twitter, now known as X, at Cityboy Quentin. I post a lot of movie stuff, and I'll hop in some comments and do all that. So go and check me out over there. But Scotty, I said they found me. And they said that's a lot of knowledge. We need to calm down a little bit. Where can they find you at?
Man, they can find me at Coronal Comics on TikTok only. I ain't on shit else. Nothing else. TikTok is where you can find me. Follow me. I do reviews daily on comic books. If you want to find nothing but facts, come on and follow me. Sometimes I put nonsense in there, but even my nonsense is facts. But I won't be selfish. If you're tired of hearing Flyknit bullshit, and you're tired of hearing nothing but facts from me, and you want something in between, you can find us at Modern League Films on everything. Everything. Email, Instagram, TikTok, possibly Twitter. I don't know. Shake your head no if we ain't got a Twitter.
It's right
we ain't
there.
got one. He ain't say
YouTube,
nothing. See, well,
TikTok, and we got YouTube Shorts here.
we got everything.
I'm on Twitter. Hey, that's all I got.
All right, and we are out. I really don't want to watch this Hitman movie. I swear.
Heard it's great.
And you want to dance in the camera.